Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Horror Podcast. I am Sean,
And I'm Missy.
and we are going to review tonight, fresh from the theater, both of us are. I'm speaking like Yoda, I don't know why. In a Violent Nature, we are going to go spoiler free for a little bit, and then we may go spoiler. I will give you ample warning. So, Missy, what did you think of In a Violent Nature?
All right. I saw it just a few hours ago, and I have to say I saw it at 4 o'clock. There were like 12 other humans there, and one of them left in the middle. One of them left in the middle after what I think was the best kill in the movie. Um,
Oh, did it involve yoga?
yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. But
Fuck
all the
yeah.
kills were all right. But I just saw it a few hours ago, and it pretty much blasted its way to the top of my best of list and unseated Infested. And I think it's going to be hard to knock it out of that slot. I have
Wow.
one issue, but it didn't detract from my experience. I love this, but I, I love slashers. Like, we all like different kinds of horror, and I love all different kinds, but slashers and monster movies are my favorite. So, I mean, I know I'm a bit biased, but I loved it. It's super brutal. It's super gory. The practical effects are fucking outstanding. Warning anybody like because I love campy slashers too. This is not that. It's not campy. There's no humor here. It's mean. It's bloody, but I think it's beautiful in its simplicity and its purity. I've been thinking about that a lot lately because I've been watching a lot of Friday the 13th
Hmm.
lately, and I just love the simplicity of them. And the deaths in this movie are fucking exquisite.
Yeah.
um, I mean, I will say there's no surprises here. I mean, this it tells a story we already know, but it does it in a different way. But I feel like if you like slasher movies, it's a must see. If you don't, and you're squeamish, then it might not be for you.
I can see that.
What did you think? I'm dying to know because we haven't talked about this at all yet.
Well, I did not realize this is actually a cinematic adaptation of Henry David Thoreau's essay Walking, about the joys of walking, because 90% of this fucking movie is walking. And so, okay, here's the thing with this movie. I give this movie 3 stars, but to give it 3 stars, I
Okay,
subtract, I'm thinking letterbox here. If I give it 3 stars, I don't give it a heart. The yoga kill gets a heart.
okay.
Apparently, I didn't know this. Anthony from this show on our text thread mentioned Stephen Kostansky, who did The Void and Psycho Gorman, was lead on the effects for this movie. That makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yes, it does.
I mean, like a lot. But okay, so in like 2007, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which I'm a big fan of, right? And they're 10-minute episodes that are
Wait,
complete.
the
Hold on,
cartoon with the ham.
it'll make sense. I swear to God, it'll make sense.
Okay, carry on.
So in like 2007, Adult Swim went to the guys that make Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and like, we want you to do a feature length film. And they're like, you've seen the show, you know what we do, right? Yeah. And you want us to do that for 80 minutes? Yeah. Okay. So I watched the Aqua Teen movie once, and as big of a fan as I was at the time, and still am, I kind of recently rekindled it, but it was nearly impossible to watch. But they knew that they were like, this is what we do, and so we'll do it for 80 fucking minutes because you asked us to. This movie, I really have to give Chris Nash props. I don't know that I would ever watch this again,
Okay,
but he 100% said, I'm taking this from this isn't a spoiler. Everybody knows this, you know, from the trailer.
right,
This is 100% first. Well, it's the perspective of the killer, right? And it's basically
right,
an analog for Jason.
right.
And while the teens are running around fucking smoking joints, trying to run for their lives, the killer is just basically walking. I mean, we see that in, Leslie Vernon, Behind the Mask, right? Like the whole joke, like, how much cardio I got to do to keep up.
Yeah, right,
There's
right,
that
right.
Pepe Le Pew element. And this is just that. It is literally the killer's perspective. So there's a lot of in between,
Right,
right? And I really applaud Chris Nash for sticking with that because that is the singular vision that makes this movie something different. And had he at
right,
some point aberrated that and went, well, now we're going to switch to the perspective of whatever, I would have been like, oh man, like maybe it might be a little bit easier to like sit through after this long, but it would have betrayed the concept. And I like that he did what he wanted. He did what he set out to do, and I major
right.
props. But there were times where I was like, enough. Like,
Okay.
can we kill someone now, please? Because the deaths
See, I
there's
didn't
so
think it was slow. It didn't feel slow to me, but
it doesn't feel
if
slow, but it feels plodding to a degree where it's like there were
but
just a
that's
couple
on, I
times where I'm
think
like,
that's on
enough.
purpose.
It
I
is
I think you're
100%,
supposed to like. I think it's like that to build tension. It kind of
100%.
because when you're watching it, it puts you in it, riding shotgun with the slasher like you were playing a video game. You're like, so you're seeing it from his perspective, and I mean, and there, I mean, I thought it was a cool way to look at it. And you're right, he went all like it's a movie that's slave to its shtick, and they're
Yeah,
all in on it. So I mean, if it annoys you, then you're not, you know, then it's not going to be for you. It's probably going to be divisive. Like people are either going to
it
love or hate
will.
it. But but I mean, and the whole killer point of view, they've done. It's been done before, but not like this.
Not like
So I
this.
mean, like the original Friday the 13th and the original Sleepaway Camp, you all of the kills are from the killer's point of view, but this entire movie is from the killer's point of view.
And that's what's so special about it because it's like, why
Right.
just do the kills? Like, and you understand why they just do the kills because it moves quicker, it's snappier, right? But that's not what Chris Nash wanted to do. And I think you're right. Like, it's the tension, it's all there.
It's the tension and it's the disconnect because you never get to in a standard Friday the 13th movie, you're going to meet your
Yeah,
group of friends and you're going to get to know all of them. You never get to know any of these people. It still hits all the like it runs a basic slasher formula. It hits all those beats, but you're on the outside looking in. You
yeah,
don't know these people. You're hearing part of it. The sound is pretty cool because there are parts where it
yeah,
will amplify certain sounds. So like somebody swaying on a horn and
yeah,
that's all you hear and all the voices fade out. Like so it almost puts you in this world where the only thing that exists is the slasher.
yeah, absolutely.
You're basically watching a Friday the 13th movie with no humor, more gore, and it's inside out.
Yeah, Inside Out's the best way to put it. That's beautiful.
If you like Friday the 13th movies and slashers of that type, like Hatchet and Victor Crowley, that kind of stuff, you'll you'll probably like this as long as you understand it is all in on a shtick and it's on purpose. And I think it works, but I mean I can see why some people will not like it.
Yes, definitely. And I would say if you're a slasher fan or horror, like I say, go see it because support it, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, I didn't regret going to see it whatsoever. It did weigh on me a little bit, but also like there's certain things. So this is another thing I really give Chris and Ash props for because a lot of people do because it's not found footage, but because it's from the killer's perspective, it almost is found footage, but it's not a camera, but it's just a
But
different
it's shot very well because
yes.
I mean found footage tends to piss me off. I don't usually like those. And part of the problem is they employ a lot of shaky cams, and I get motion sickness.
Yes.
This movie is not. It's well filmed. It's from the killer's point of view, but it never bothered me. I did not get motion sickness. I did not get a headache, and I did not get impatient with it.
So another thing though that a lot of found footage movies do is they use a score or a soundtrack, which is often annoying to me because if it's truly found footage,
There wouldn't be a score.
there wouldn't be. And there's been a couple, like nothing that comes to mind as far as I can call out by name, but that have like had creative ways of like, adjusting that and like explaining it. But this does not. But there is a scene. So there's an early scene where I was unclear at one point. I'm like, wait, is this the 80s? Because somebody had a fucking like Sony fucking cassette Walkman. And then you see a cell phone. I'm like, oh, okay. So this is like cassette culture did come back and it's kind of like a hipster thing or whatever. And
Okay.
so people will, have them. And at one point,
I didn't even think about that.
one of the characters is even like, oh, go show them your cassette player. They'll think you're from the future, whatever. So there's a kill involving the person with the cassette player. And you see that based on the logistics of what is done to their body, the headphones come out of the cassette player. And then the killer is carrying the body, and the music that's on the Walkman is playing, but it's playing through the speaker on the Walkman. So there's music present, but the batteries are dying. And so when he's walking, a lot of times he walks great distance, but they'll do these lapse cuts, right? So it's like you can tell he's gone like a greater distance and they're showing you, thank God. And the batteries are winding down, so the music is slowing and it's becoming very dirge and creepy. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. Everything about
I
the
like
way
that
you
too.
did that was fucking great. So I like really in theory, I love everything about this movie. I just felt like they could have maybe done some more lapses, and I feel like maybe there was a better way to also, I got to tell you, there's a couple decisions people make in this movie, and I know it's a slasher movie, right? You're gonna be like, everybody's gonna be like, look, dickhead, people, that's what a slasher movie is. People do dumb shit. But there's two things in particular we'll talk about when we get to spoilers that I was like,
Okay.
wouldn't do that. It's only here because it serves a purpose, and it bugged me a little bit. But overall,
Okay.
go see it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I say if you like slashers, go see it. Know that it's super gory. Um, for me that's a selling point, but there there was a gentleman that left in the middle of the movie right after the yoga death. And I kind of went, well, guess it's not for you, it's for us.
Fuck
Because
yeah.
it's awesome.
So okay, so our verdict is, regardless of my gripes, you loved it. Regardless of my gripes, it is a fucking blessing this is in theaters. Like, go see it. If you
Yes.
have any, hey, you can always get up and walk out. But let me tell you, if you're a horror fan, wait for the yoga death because it takes
Yes.
a while to get there. But chef's fucking kiss, man. It's not easy to
I
invent a
think all the
new.
deaths were great, but
It's
that
not
one
easy to
was
invent a new death that really leaves an impact. And man, I was like, I've never seen this before, and it's
and it's
fucking
amazing.
awesome. Yeah, for sure.
And all that shit's practical.
All
and it looks
practical.
and it looks freaking amazing.
Okay, spoilers. So, audience, if you have not seen this movie, turn us
Go
off.
see
Shut
it
us up.
and then come back.
Or don't come back. Just go see the fucking movie. But turn us off now. Okay, talk to me about spoilers.
Okay. My one I have one issue with the movie, and I'm curious to see what you thought about this. Um, it ends extremely abruptly. It just kind of stops. How do you feel about that? I mean, I kind of I would have liked a little more because I'm like, wait, it just stopped. Why did it just
Well,
stop?
it
But
stops after a very long scene in the car where I was just like, okay. Um, so here's the thing with the end of the movie. I thought for fucking certain this movie, I'm like, of course, this movie is going to be the movie that gives the finger to the final girl. It's like this bitch ain't making it out of this. She didn't fucking do anything to deserve making out of this fucking movie. She made it out of the movie. Did not make me happy. I mean, hey, that's me. Like whatever. Fuck me and my expectations. He did what he wanted to do. That's fine.
Hmm.
Whatever. But I thought for certain. But the whole ending, like I understand the ride in the car with the woman is and
Well,
the story about the bear. I get that that's like
and the woman is she's a veteran from Friday the 13th.
I I knew she looked
She's from
familiar.
Friday 2.
Okay.
Friday the 13th part 2. She's Vicky, the one that hooks up with the wheelchair guy that gets macheted in the face.
I knew she looked familiar. I couldn't place it. I figured if she was somebody like that doesn't surprise me at all. I figured it was, that was the casting. But I got that the conversation like was like in a roundabout way explaining some things, but and I also liked the fact that like they left this expectation. Like you get the final girl like staring into the woods and you're waiting
Hmm.
for something, right? You're
Right,
sure of
and
it.
then it
You're
just
sure
stopped.
of it. And then it goes to the gas can and so it leaves a lot open. But
I'm okay with open, but I feel like I like open. I like ambiguous, but I wanted just a little bit more. I feel like it kind of stopped right before we should have got the big final girl fight.
I'm okay where it stopped. I mean, if he had showed up, I would have been like bullshit because they drove for like fucking 15 minutes while that woman
I
told the
thought he
story
was
about the
in the bed of
bear.
the truck. I was waiting for him to pop up out of the bed of the truck
But
because
that
that's
would have
where I
been
thought he was.
so cliche. Because at
I
first I
know.
was like, God, please don't let this be like House of Thousand Corpses. Not that I have no problem with House doing it, but like, don't let this be like, oh, this is I don't know, whatever. She's got him in the bed of the truck or what. That would have been, I would not have cared for that. And if he
Okay.
had found them, I would have been like, are you fucking kidding me? They just drove for miles. I think what the ending is saying is like he got his necklace back. He's good. I don't know. I mean, if he finds her, like if there's a sequel and he finds her, I would just be like, fuck you. Like, seriously, how? Like you're really gonna have to explain that one. Um, I don't know. I was disappointed she didn't die. When she's running, and then like I go to Kirsten, I'm like, did she run all the way to Africa? Because all of a sudden, all of the like forest sounds get so loud, and there were
Hmm.
owls. But at first, I thought there were monkeys. I'm like, what the fuck? Where the fuck is she?
Monkeys.
It was like just such a different sound all of a sudden, like the
Okay.
ambient, everything we'd heard as ambience for that forest changed, and I think it's because it's her perception, right? She's
Hmm.
terrified, so everything's louder, everything's. I kept thinking I heard his plodding footsteps, but that's probably because she kept thinking she heard them.
Yeah,
So I thought that
I
was
think
handled
so.
really well.
All right. So since we both agree that the yoga girl was the best death, what was your favorite death after that? Because there's so many good ones.
I didn't really think they were that great, other than
Really?
that one. Maybe that one just sets
Okay.
such a high bar, but like the log splitter was great. And I'm not entirely sure how they did that because I'm like, okay, so
I was slightly disappointed in the log splitter because I thought they were going to do it like a log and he'd get like split in half.
yeah. And then he did his arm. And then I was like, okay, so he's going to do them piece by piece. That's going to take a long time. But then he just did the arm and then he did the head. So same. I mean, it was cool. That really reminded me of 80s like video nasty grindhouse.
Hmm.
The lighting and everything about the way they did that. But it was an interesting effect because so he breaks his back, right? But like Pearson's like, but he didn't scream or anything. And I think that's because at some point it
I
had
think
to
he
have
was
been
completely like paralyzed and
Well, I think you could still scream if you're paralyzed, though.
Can you still scream if your body goes into shock though?
Well, so that's a good point. That's a good point, right? But paralyzed people talk so they can scream, but shock would definitely.
But I mean, after the back breaking, that's when then they put his arm in the lug splitter and he doesn't even move.
Well, so his eyes are moving when his head gets cut
Yeah,
off. So,
only his eyes, which is why I think he was in severe shock and
but
probably paralyzed.
how did they actually? Because I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, is this the actor? Because his eyes are moving and he's breathing heavier, right? But then his head gets cut off and there's no edit. So I'm like, okay, so I think the reason he's not screaming is because I think it's some kind of a like an automaton, like I think that's a prop at some point and not the actor. Because otherwise, I don't know how they did it. I mean, because he's like
Well,
breathing heavy
right.
and his eyes are moving and his head gets cut off. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not a dummy. So there's something about it that's automated, or they really cut the guy's head off. I don't know. But other than that, I don't know. Like the kill, Kirsten really liked, and I did too. The kill where I liked when the camera went up and was looking down. That was pretty
Uh-huh.
cool.
I like that too.
All of I know it's common practice for the characters are you're not going to like them for them. I mean, sometimes you like a few of them, but I felt like they were all especially just unlikable shit.
But we never got to know any of them either.
I got to know them enough to know I was like kill all of them right fucking now in the worst way possible.
Well, yeah, I mean,
No,
you
I
weren't
know.
really supposed to get, they were, I mean, this is the kind of movie that, let's be honest, you're here for the death.
Yes, but it's that VHS thing where it's like, people that are that unlikable, it like becomes like I don't even like it just cancels it out in a way. They're really
Hmm.
fucking unlikable.
I
Um,
didn't think they were that bad. Not like,
oh man.
oh, what was the one we watched that oh, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That one,
Yeah. Well, that's a
those
special
people
kind of
were
asshole.
awful. And I made it through the whole movie and I did not like any of those people.
Yeah, same.
And I did
Uh,
not like that movie. Here, they felt like each of those people just fit into a slot of,
yes,
you know,
100%. But also like okay, so the two things that it bothered me. First, just the guy at the end where it's like, okay, I'm gonna draw him away and then I'll lead him to the trap order. And he just literally walks up right behind him. He's like, hey, I'm late. Like,
yeah, that was
buddy,
stupid.
buddy, worst plan of all time. Like just the worst. And I just felt like unreal, like just why?
Because like when we get uh Yoga Girl, like before she hesitates, like she has a way, she has a way out. I mean, kind like
Throwing herself
kind
down
of
that cliff. I mean, but which I would have totally
right.
100%
I mean,
done.
it looked like sit your ass down and slide down on your butt, but don't just stand there and
Yeah.
you see what's coming at you. It's not going to be a good thing. You want to, I mean, I'd rather take my chances,
Yeah.
jumping and possibly breaking my neck than I know what's going to happen if I wait for this guy.
Yeah. But then
And,
the other one, the cop, the ranger, where it's like he knows the lore, he's faced him
mm-hmm,
before and put him down, and what
right,
does he do? He walks up right fucking
right
next
to
to
it.
him, and then he even is like, "Okay, I'm gonna hand you the gun at the count of
Yeah,
three." It's like,
that
dude,
was,
what?
yeah, I'm like, wait, what are you doing? Don't
What?
do that. What the fuck?
I
They're
mean,
passing the gun like right past him.
it made for a laugh, but and maybe that was the point. But I was like, bro, how did you fucking beat this guy 10 years ago? You're a fucking idiot. That really, I just felt like that was so far outside the realm of what, like it just, but it led to the goodness of the log splitter, so that's fine. But I don't know, it just,
Mm-hmm.
and the other thing is, dude, just keep fucking shooting him. I mean,
Yeah, don't pass the gun around. Just pump it, empty your clip.
in a self-aware slasher that is, kind of like I keep seeing this stuff where it's like, oh, this like deconstructs the genre or whatever. I mean, the movie's not purporting to do that necessarily, or I haven't read anything that says that, but it is a self-aware movie to some degree. Nobody should not be at least double tapping. I mean, you could at
Right.
least blow the motherfucker's arms off at close. You're standing that close, put the fucking barrel up to the arm, blow it off at the elbow, do the other one. There you go. He's got no arms.
Yeah, and just keep shooting. Like, yeah, I didn't get that, but it's a slasher movie. People make dumb decisions.
But
They
but it's a
That's kind of how it goes.
self-aware slasher movie. So it can't once you do that, it's like you can't be self-aware in some aspects and then not in others. That kind of drives me nuts because it's like you're all again, I feel like the focus here that might have slipped, but the focus here, like I think Chris Nash did what he wanted to do, and I applaud him for it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, it was good to see a just a nice bloody gory slasher in the theaters. And the I like the mask. It's evil,
Yeah.
that thing's evil as fuck. And I they kept saying it was like a fireman mask or something, but I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, neither have I. I mean, it might have been like way back. I don't know. They talking 70 years ago, like a logging. I have no idea. It was such a weird looking mask. I loved it.
Yeah, the mask was awesome, and the weapons, the hook things are great.
Great,
Like,
great.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It has a couple minor issues, but this is this dude's first feature length film. I thought that the effects were outstanding.
Yeah, they were.
It's all practical gore, and it looks fucking fantastic. And I mean, I'm not gonna. It's not deep. It's not deep,
No, but
but
nobody. I didn't want it to
it
be deep.
right. I love it. I loved it for what it was. I
Yeah,
mean,
and how cool was it the way it started, where it's like, oh, dude, all you had to do is not take the fucking golden necklace.
right,
All you had
right.
to do. It's all you had to do, not
Don't
do
touch
that.
it. Have you never seen a horror movie? Don't take shit like that.
Yeah, that dude. I was waiting for that dude to. So, what was your other than Yoga Bitch? What was your second favorite kill?
Probably the one with the headphones. I just
I
never thought about, like, it didn't even occur to me that, like, that this seemed like it was present, and that was a very 80s cassette player. But I don't know, it was a bunch of people getting killed in the woods. It seemed like it was supposed to be there.
yeah, yeah, and
So I
it
didn't get
checks
it till
it
you
checks
I
out.
didn't catch it till you called it out. But I mean, that was probably my second favorite. But I love slashers, and I thought all the deaths were pretty good. I mean, I like practical effects. They looked good. The mask was evil. Like, I'm not hard to please.
Yeah, right, right. No, I definitely enjoyed it. I felt like so the first kill, the like the guy that was setting the traps or whatever. So there was probably let's say 6 to 10 other people in the theater with us. So it was
Okay,
also like there was a decent number of people, and I was happy, and people were into it, but I feel like
that's
you don't
cool.
know how the crowd is going to be, right? So the movie starts out and it's very, it's just very focused. And
Hmm.
when he goes into that guy's house and the guy comes, stumbling out, he's like, "Oh, leave me alone!" And he runs in the woods. I go to Kirsten, I'm like, he's gonna step in one of his own traps. And
Uh
the minute you hear that happen, I laughed so fucking loud,
huh.
and I felt like it broke the seal on the room because after that, everybody like when the fucking headphone guy got killed, the guy sitting
Hmm.
behind me was like, "Fuck yeah," or something like that. It was a really good crowd to see it with. Like there were people like really into it and like expressing it, and I was like, "Fuck yes." So it made the
That's
experience
awesome.
very good.
That's awesome. I mean, my crowd wasn't that good, but I was not the only person that, because usually I watch this gory shit, and I'll be laughing and nobody else
Yeah,
is.
same, always.
And I was not the only person laughing. Again, not because it's humorous, it's just, I don't know, I guess it's somewhat funny. Mostly I think it's just those deaths are satisfying. It makes you
Yes,
happy.
it makes you happy.
It
I
makes
like
you happy.
I wanted to stand up when the movie was over and like go out for a beer with a couple of the people that were in the room that I could hear their reactions. Like the guy behind me. I was like, "You want to get a beer and talk about the movie?" Like fuck yeah. I don't know. It was good.
Yeah. My crowd wasn't that good, but I did have somebody that noped out, and that shit was funny. It was like right after Yoga Girl, and it's like, really? It was the best death in the movie.
That is a
Okay,
fucked up death, man.
it's amazing.
That took
Oh, it's
some
so fucking cool.
what the oh man, and also just
If you like practical effects, that alone is enough reason to go see this movie.
I agree. Like the death, like go see this go see this movie for that death for sure.
Like that is one of the coolest deaths I've ever seen in a slasher.
Oh man. That's like
It was so good. It was so good.
I'm curious to see what Ivy Tholen thinks about that death because I feel like she's got the other, that great death and It Tastes Like Candy one
Hmm.
that I love so much. This is like up there with that. Like those are like the reigning champions because this
Uh-huh.
was like it's just the ingenuity.
Yeah. And I mean, I also think she has one of the best slasher deaths, but we don't agree on which one.
I know, but
So
still,
they're both great. They're both great.
they're both great.
So so yeah, this is a two thumbs up from me, and it I mean, we're halfway through the year, so we'll see what else is coming. This one will be hard. I mean, my top two slots are sitting a slasher and a fucking creature feature.
Right.
That's gonna be hard to unseat.
Yeah, it's been a good year so far, and we're not quite halfway through, so that's a good thing. So I definitely think people, if you're within the range of the sound of our voices, go see this movie. And like I said, even if it tries your patience, wait until the yoga death and then leave.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it looks like it's getting a full release. Like there's a lot of times in my theater for the weekend.
Good, good, very good.
So, and I mean, I've been telling anybody I know who likes slashers, hey, eh, go see this. And a couple people were like, wait, I haven't even heard of that. Yep, it just dropped today. Very indie. Go see it.
Go see it. Yeah, very
It's
indie. Go
gory.
see
You'll
it.
like it.
So that's In a Violent Nature. And this is the Horror Vision. And I am not going to go do yoga.
At least
I'm
not like
Sean.
that. I'm Missy.
A pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus MV20 soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive?
The world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure? Murder. From the twisted mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadowplay in Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus.